Thank you for this opportunity to tell you a little bit about Connexis Search Group. We've been in business for 21 years. We do retained and contingency searches, life science, diagnostics, biotechnology, and medical device are our primary areas of expertise. We have 25 recruiters located throughout the U.S. Many of them have industry experience. We have an intense focus on training. We really place a lot of emphasis on being great at what we do. We realize that takes training. Allows us to find passive candidates, candidates that are not actively looking, candidates that you typically do not see when you're posting jobs. These candidates are typically not responding to job postings. A couple of people that we have studied, Lou Adler has a great book out that I recommend for everybody, for hiring managers, for recruiters. Basically, he is one of the best at teaching how to interview. So he can teach you how to interview and how to really define the best candidates. Peter Lefkowitz is he's more of a recruiter, trainer for recruiters, internal and external, very good recruiter. We really focus in how to effectively interview candidates, and so that's something that I really stress with my recruiters is, we're not just getting resumes and forwarding in those to our hiring managers. We are interviewing candidates, spending an hour with them on the phone, going through their resume in detail to learn what they do. So we're not a company that just sends you a resume. Otherwise, if that was the case, I wouldn't do this business. I think that's there's no satisfaction in doing that. Most hiring managers that we work with have a limited interview training, so they're not really, their companies really don't put them through a whole lot of training, so we take it on ourselves to really know how to interview. That's why you'd be hiring us, is to interview people and make recommendations. We have weekly training sessions at Connexis. We do role plays. We really learn how to interview candidates to find out what they're all about. People ask what makes you different. It's our process. So we are effective because of our processes. And one of the things that really make a big difference is we have 25 recruiters across the United States. Well, 26, I suppose, as of now. But we limit our recruiters to 2 to 3 new searches per recruiter. That way it gives them a chance to really do a deep dive. When you start giving a recruiter more searches than that, then what happens is all surface level work, and they really don't have time to dig deep and to find the right candidates. So if you overwhelm them, then they're going to start taking shortcuts and not finding the best candidates for you. That's why we like to work with our clients on an exclusive basis, so we can give them this level of service and dig in and really find the right candidates for them. We do not use job postings to find candidates. So we're not posting this on LinkedIn. We're not posting this on Indeed. You can do that, and then the candidates you get from that typically, most of the time, are not the best candidates. We will pursue the best fit candidates based on your inputs. You tell us what you're looking for. We'll go get candidates that are not actively looking. So the best candidates are so busy doing their current job that they are not taking time away from their job to interview. Matter of fact, we've talked to some candidates who are very conscientious and say, hey, I'm not interviewing while I'm working for my current company. I can talk to you this weekend or this evening or before work starts. But the best candidates are too busy to respond to postings. And so I always tell the recruiters that at Connexis, like, hey, if a candidate comes to you easy, then beware, because they may be on performance improvement plan. So if you think about it, when you post a job, you get candidates. I mean, do you know if they're on performance improvement plan or not? Most likely, there's a good chance that they are. All right, so the first step of the whole process is, in the recruiting process, is for us to understand your needs and the ideal candidate. So that's usually 45 minutes, maybe an hour conference call with the decision makers at your company, and we have our recruiters who are going to be assigned to your search on that call to make sure they really have a deep understanding. And this is a deep dig, and a lot of questions we ask to gain understanding of what you're looking for. So we want to know more about the position, what's the goals for the position, what the ideal candidate is. And we've worked with so many startups over the years. That's all we work with, emerging growth companies. We do have a few big companies every once in a while, but 90% of our business comes from early stage emerging growth companies. And so we have done this so much, a lot of times we serve as consultants too, from a standpoint of the type of candidate you may want to hire that would be best suited for your the position that you're looking for. We've done it so much, we can kind of give you an idea of what type of candidate, what background, the type of compensations it's going to take to get them. We also have a scorecard that we've created that allows us to listen to you, record your decision criteria, and then when we interview the candidates, then our recruiters use this scorecard, and then we do a rank like 1 to 5, 5 being the highest for each one of the criteria you gave us. So when we submit the candidate to you, we'll have a scorecard, and then obviously you can interview the candidate too, and then you can decide if you agree with our ranking or not. So it helps everybody stay on the same page, especially if you have multiple decision makers involved. If everybody is in agreement with the decision criteria, then we stick to that through the process, and then it just helps us gain a consensus on the best candidates and who should move forward in the process. There again, we pursue the best candidates, not the ones that are actively looking. Many of the candidates we talk to don't want to talk during business hours, and so our recruiters, they understand the nature of the job, that our business is not a 8 to 5. Most of them are commission oriented, my recruiters, so they're okay with making calls early in the morning, calls late at night, calls on the weekend. You have to be flexible to get the right candidates. And so talking to them, if you're just working if you're a recruiter working 8 to 5, then you're not going to be super successful. We do a very thorough interview. We gather specifics about the reason they're leaving their current company. So we want to know this, and we look for patterns here. If it's always somebody else's fault that they're leaving, then we kind of get nervous and we may drop that candidate. But we want to make sure they're not running from something. We're trying to make sure they're wanting to advance their career. We do have an interview template that we use that we go across to make sure we're gathering all the information. We always want to know what people's most significant accomplishments are. That's something we got from Lou Adler in his book, and so we dig in to get specific examples of their success, and we like to learn how they win business, how creative they are, what their processes are. Tells you a lot to find out people's most significant accomplishments. We gather compensation information. That's really critical because that can help at the very end. If we don't have that information, then it's sometimes harder to secure a candidate at a reasonable price at the end of the process. Something we do that's a little different that some candidates sometimes they always question us, but we ask for references up front, because if we do references up front, then we save you time and us time by eliminating a candidate who might not get a good reference at the end. So why would you spend months talking to a candidate and do the reference at the end to find out that they're not the perfect candidate? So I ask my recruiters to do references up front and to find out about the candidate, and if they have a manager that we can talk to find out more about their background. Because there's only so much you can tell about from an interview. You really have to do a reference. And so a lot of times we get our leads from senior level executives that we already know. So we'll call somebody and ask them, hey, what do you know about this candidate? I know they worked at your company. So sometimes we get covert references like that as well. So we just make sure that we are doing a good job of finding the right candidate. Offer stage, we can make the verbal offer to make sure the candidate accepts your written offer. A lot of candidates now are getting offers and then shopping them around and then rejecting your offer. So we have a process that if you let us make the verbal offer, we really pin the candidate down, gain agreement that they will accept the offer, give them just a couple of days once they get the written offer to turn it back around signed. And so that way they're not shopping offers around. So we really know how to handle the offer stage. And then also we work hard to prevent counteroffers. Counteroffers are more common now than they have been in the past. And so we kind of educate the candidates, the the dangers of accepting a counteroffer and what that means for their career. So we have a whole presentation for them about counteroffers that we go through with them. Onboarding, we stay in touch with the candidates after they are in your company, and so we keep you posted. We'll call them, we'll check on them, how you're doing. Sometimes they're just little small things that maybe they think are petty that maybe we can pass to you, so your hiring manager can adjust and improve um, and help them get more comfortable in a new environment. Obviously, it ensures that the candidate stays, and it gives them obviously increases um, their productivity. But anyway, that's an overview of our process. Glad to provide additional information if you needed it, but wanted to give you a overview of why we feel like we're so effective.